And Senator Ted Kennedy couldn't be here. There's a lot of jokes about Ted and Kennedy, but I recently watched an interview. It was very touching. Ted was talking about, or Mr. Kennedy. What the hell am I calling him Ted for? Senator Kennedy was talking about how he proposed to his lovely wife Vicki Reggie, and it was very touching. It was a different side of Ted Kennedy you don't see. He was very old-fashioned or romantic. When he made the proposal, it was very nice. He got up on one knee and he. It was nice. You hear all the stories, and then you hear something like that. It makes you. I'm starting to relax now. I think I'm relaxing a little. That's not just the booze talking. I think I really am relaxing.
All right. That was Norm Macdonald, 1997. I remember seeing that at the time at the White House Correspondents' Dinner in Washington, D.C. And it was a shocking performance. It was what you think. It was a good old-fashioned, fairly vicious roast. And as only Norm Macdonald could do. Norm Macdonald died today. You guys already know that. And or if it's Wednesday for you, Wednesday, had cancer for 9 years. I had no idea.
Apparently, he kept it secret. That's what I was reading.
Yeah, he is a fascinating guy. And one of the things I've been seeing today is people talking about going down the Norm Macdonald wormholes on Twitter, on YouTube, wherever. And I've done that for the past about 7 or 8 years. I've just stumbled in. Actually, before I even got into podcasts, listening to them, like around 2015 or so, I just started getting into more Norm Macdonald stuff. I always loved him. Anybody who's around my age remember him from the late 80s and early 90s and getting on with Letterman. He was the Canadian guy who was such a know-it-all, bleep-eating smartass. And everything he said was funny. His delivery was just fun. All the words he said and the way he said it was funny. Take away the jokes. He was just a funny bastard, so you always felt it was coming. And then he'd work off the crowd and then toy with the crowd. He was a guy that was just so much more brilliant than anybody else that it's like he knew a bunch of stuff that sometimes he'd let you in on some of it. But I think him knowing stuff, having this whole inventory of brilliant thoughts and observations, etc., made him super comfortable that he could say whatever he wanted, even though many in the audience and co-hosts and hosts would start to get very uncomfortable because he saw the big picture of where he was going. Just some of the stuff is ridiculous. I thought he was a brilliant guy. I just think it sucks. It's like Norm Macdonald is gone with all the idiocy that we have now everywhere on social media, everywhere, that you lose a guy like that. It's like the Earth has lost a good percentage of its total IQ points. Don't use Norm Macdonald, somebody else. Anybody else. There's so many people. We can't lose the really smart people, especially since we're in the time of...
Especially now, right?
You're in a time of pure insanity. You need guys like that. The guys who are the intellectual heavy lifters. It's interesting. He's funny because he was notoriously a bad tweeter. He would tweet just his own observations about baseball games and golf tournaments, etc. Except once in a while he'd have something to say. But I mean, I assume that's just part of his personality, that he wasn't... Hello, hey. Sorry. Check 1 2. That he wasn't going to necessarily give everybody everything all the time. And maybe I should find it. Are we allowed to talk about... We're allowed to play a Norm Macdonald joke that includes a 9/11 reference, right?
I guess so. Not too soon. It's been 20 years now. I think we're
allowed
to play 9/11 jokes now.
So the guy is just... So this is Norm Macdonald. He's got another comedian with him who he's bouncing stuff off of. And he's reading these jokes to him. And... Hold on. Where did I find... Oh, I hope I've been...
Did you lose the joke?
Oh, no, I thought I'd sent it to a bunch of people, but did I just send it to all the wrong people?
Oh.
Maybe I did. Who would I have sent this to?
Who did you send? Always exciting. Is it a work group chat? Did you send it
No,
to your
not quite
office?
that.
To your most liberal family members group chat.
Let me see if this is it. Let me see if this is it, hopefully. Damn it.
I want to know who you sent it to. Because that's the worst. Like, I have so many group chats going.
One of the Shakedown artists has my phone, so I don't have it.
Oh.
Alice Shattuck, you're Alice, right?
I'm Alice.
252.
That's me.
Was it Stokey?
But I have all my group chats going with like different combinations of people, and some things work for some people and not others. And I have to make sure that I like, because I have family members that have like requested to be taken off political discourse chats because they can't handle the heat. So I have to be careful like which group chat I send things to.
Yeah, and I get all this. Oh, David, you know.
That's not it. That's The Office. David Brent. Also good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it! I don't have my. I'm gonna find this. I don't give a. We're not moving on until I find this goddamn thing. But I got a bunch of different. Skokie. I sent it to. No, it's not Stokey. Who's 857? That's Todd after the. Oh, here we go.
You found it?
Yeah. Okay. So here it is. Who the hell did I send this to? I don't even know.
Hopefully it's like a group of people you used to group chat with at the newspaper. I hope that's what you sent.
Jimmy, it's somebody else. I'm not sure. Okay. Here's Norm Macdonald. This is more recent. This is him reading like one-liners during his show. And he's got a guy in the right, a comedian, a fairly famous comedian who he's reading these to react to these jokes. And he's got his co-host on the left who's also reacting. They don't know necessarily that this stuff is coming. So here's one of his jokes.
Hey, for the 9th consecutive year, Nick, JetBlue Airlines ranked first for satisfaction among all North American airlines. But you know what ranked least in satisfaction? 9/11 Airlines. What a terrible name for an airline. It reminds me of that tragedy.
Oh, 9/11.
Yeah, don't laugh at 9/11 again. I tried to tell him not to laugh.
Adam.
I know. I walked through blood and bones in the streets of Manhattan trying to find my brother.
Jesus.
Yeah, he was in northern Canada.
And the other comedian is not comfortable.
Not sure if he's allowed to
Yes,
laugh at
and
this.
there
yet.
are a lot of these things. In Norm, he had a lot of ones in the last 5-6 years where you have these comedians on as well, and say this very balancing borderline stuff that included stuff that seemed like it could have some Holocaust implications, etc.
Yeah.
He would just put this stuff out there to make people uncomfortable, and then reel it in and suggest they had misunderstood what he was saying, and
they were offensive.
Yeah, clues that because so they felt alone, and that's not the classics. That's just a couple of years ago. But the guy's mind is so freaking hilarious, and he grew up in a tiny town in Canada, way up north in Alberta, Canada, and you know I think you got these people from tiny towns like that where they've got real winters and real weather, real etc. And they become individuals. You go up there and you become an individual, and you become generally tougher. There's actually a really good story of him, and he never tells it. Other people just bring it up. In SNL, remember Conan O'Brien used to write for SNL? Well, a bunch of people who wrote for SNL were from like the Harvard set, were Harvard kind of people. Some of the writers. And then some were not. You know, some were street comedians, kind of like him, and other writers like him. And one time, when he first got there, early on, I think Jay Moore was involved. You don't even know who that is. He wasn't Jerry Maguire. Anyway, when he first got there, one of the Harvard people said something to him, condescended to him, and he clocked him, punched him, like right in the face.
Wow.
Like a country boy. Didn't give a damn, and no apologies whatsoever. And said he had it coming and just set the guy straight. And for like the New York, Harvard comedy writing set, I don't think you see a lot of that.
No, I don't think Manhattan TV writers usually get punched for making fun of anyone.
No. So anyway, by the way, Anyway, the guy it sucks. It sucks.
does suck.
I only have like 11 people I give a flying F about. Nobody who has ever gone to the Met Ball I'll ever care anything about. I don't have any of that stuff. I didn't glom on to any celebrity over the last 20 years. I didn't get into Who Wants to Be a Millionaire or the singers in the middle of the stage with the English a-hole who's mean to them and the she burns
American Idol.
Yeah, and with the other guy, and I escaped all of this stuff that I was fed, shoveled at me, and I just kept a few things, special, like talented people, as my people. Really never to be overwritten, but maybe to be joined by some others if other people deserved it. And Norm Macdonald was just an all-time Hall of Famer for a long time. And it just didn't seem like this was the time that Norm Macdonald should be dying.
Right.
Didn't seem like it at all. Now it makes me worry about that whole group of guys. Like
right.
The whole group of guys. I mean, and I'm not saying because I'm worried because that just shows they're old, but you lose these guys who were always my favorite with that particular group of SNL. Didn't we talk about them last night? Did we not? That group of SNL people. David Spade, Adam Sandler, you had Norm Macdonald, and Rob Schneider, kind of that group. Of course, the older people, Dennis Miller, etc. You get that group of people, the way they come off, the way they speak, and the style of their comedy, they were like really good, stalwart, raw comedians. Most of them Gen X people who were really tough comedians who didn't give an F if you got scared of jokes.
Right.
And they were great, and all of their movies would make fun of stuff, and they were just like not oversensitive bitches about everything, and it was so great. And he's just one of those guys, and I don't think they're minting new people like that. Maybe they are. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't know if like Gen Z has any comedians that are like really edgy like that. What am I hearing happen?
I thought that was from my. That happened earlier today. You heard you're fine now, right?
Okay, yeah, now I'm fine. Okay.
That's actually a little bit. We may have to make some decisions soon
About our equipment
because this
situation.
happened as I recorded the. That's this mic, I think, or my connection here. I think
Something.
it's just me, but that, or it could be the thing. Anyway, we shouldn't do this in their time. But yeah, that sucks. Norm Macdonald in his later stuff, I didn't even see any of the.
You watched a couple of his specials on like TV.
Right, but I didn't see any of his. Like, I went off and started my life, including my nightlife, in my 20s. So by the early 90s, mid 90s, I was gone. I was not.
You were not religiously watching SNL.
I was not at home on a Saturday night. No, and so I missed some of that stuff. And it was only after 9/11 did a bunch of that stuff get uploaded to places where really my friend Mike showed me all of the Burt Reynolds stuff from SNL and all that stuff that we had missed. That was great. But this guy was just so wonderful. I know you probably don't know anything about him other than what you've seen from me. You probably have.
Right. Yeah, no, you've exposed me to it mainly. But yeah, I think it's an interesting point that, I don't know that younger comedians are funny. I mean, like, I think there are some funny millennial comedians. I think, like, what's her name? The one you like, the blonde one from the one who played Kellyanne Conway on SNL all the time.
Yeah.
She must be a millennial, right? Like an older millennial? She can't be much older than me.
I assume so. I forgot her name.
Kate McKinnon?
Yes, but
name?
is she a comedian?
Yes, she is.
I mean, she's on. Okay, no, I'm sure she is.
She was on SNL.
I understand that, but is she a stand-up?
Oh, I don't know about
she seems like an SNL character actor, and she's good at her character acting.
Yeah, but so I don't know about stand-up. I don't watch that much.
But like when Norm Macdonald
was
on SNL, he was doing Norm Macdonald.
But yeah, but like the stuff that they try and push on you in terms of stand-up, like the people who do Netflix specials, like, I mean, Chappelle must be like a Gen Xer, but he was popular with millennials, obviously.
Yeah, but Chappelle's he's
like,
a little older than me. He's.
I know, but that's like millennials found that funny, So,
Sure.
and like millennials watch South Park and stuff, but like
Right.
I don't know if Gen Z like officially has a sense of humor or what.
Uh, and actually, you mentioned Chappelle, which gets me thinking.
I mean, I don't know what's on that's new, that's funny, that's like for younger people, or if they just go back and watch older stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Like, is there anything new that's funny? Some of our listeners are young; they can tell us.
Yeah, I'm sure there's got to be. There's got to be stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't watch it. There's
Emily and Amy, reach out, tell us what's funny.
I mean, we've got. Yeah, and this is. I don't want to waste any more time, but this is. You had mentioned, but you mentioned when you triggered something when you said Chappelle. Chappelle was funny of that time. Yeah, damn, I'm forgetting it. I'm forgetting it. I think. Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, like, oh wait, okay. There are some people who like aren't funny who were told. Like Dane Cook, I didn't think was especially funny. Oh, yeah, that's what I want to say.
Okay.
Norm Macdonald was a comedian and on SNL.
Mm-hmm.
Pete Davidson is a comedian on SNL. These are two very different animals that should never be mentioned in the same sentence. So if Pete Davidson, that's new humor, him being like half a like bitchy up there and saying, Dan Crenshaw wouldn't even be known if it wasn't for me. And the joke being Pete Davidson doesn't have his bleep together, but other than that, not really being funny.
Mm-hmm.
That guy sucks. So if that's that then I'm done. And this is not about really being conservatives either, because like all those guys, Seth Meyers is my guy. Jimmy, both Jimmys are essentially my guy.
Mm-hmm.
My guys. All those other people. Who cares? This is okay. Norm Macdonald, we miss you. You're fantastic. You're great.
It's all been downhill since Norm
I
Macdonald.
did try to get him on else. I never worked. I mean, on another entity.
Mm-hmm.
But okay. In the real world right now, what's happening? The big news right now. We've moved on from. By the way, all yesterday I was saying AOC eat the rich, and it was tax the rich.
Her dress said tax the rich, but we said eat the rich.
Right. I didn't realize that, and I was saying it all day today too during the radio show, and everybody, including my program director, were feverishly emailing me or messaging
and you were
me,
ignoring it,
telling me, and I didn't know. I had no idea. But you know what? I like eat the rich. Well, they both work. Although tax the rich would have given us more to talk about because the rich are certainly taxed. But right now, the big stuff that's breaking right now is the stuff about Mark Milley.
right?
And all I've seen, and I haven't been into it too much,
Mm-hmm.
what I've seen is that there's reporting coming out that during the Trump presidency, Milley intervened.
Post January 6th, yes.
Post January. Okay, so
Right.
Can you tell me because
Right.
I'm not up.
So, I mean, I've just skimmed this because this is new, the last couple hours, but basically, everything, we know this because I've said this on the show 1,000 times, but everything on the left is projection. So, if they tell you that you were trying to do a coup, really what that means is that they were trying to do a coup. So basically, after January 6th, Mark Milley went around and talked to Pelosi and talked to everybody and told them that, and told all like the people doing the nuclear football and whatever, that like everything had to go to him, that they couldn't listen to Trump anymore, that he was in charge, and that Trump didn't have command of the military anymore, basically. And he like called China apparently and told them that he would warn them if Trump decided to like do a nuclear attack on China. And
what was his capacity?
Joint Chiefs, I think, still.
Okay. And this is post January 6th. He's president
Right.
until January 20th.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well.
And apparently there wasn't like enough cabinet still there to really do 25th Amendment or whatever. And that's why they didn't do that. But there was like no. So he essentially usurped the chain of command and let everybody know in D.C. that like he was really in charge and Trump no longer had control of the strings.
Had we heard whisperings about something like this from his own book or something recently? Was that not him who said that recently?
I don't remember, but I mean, like, obviously there's been rumors about this because a lot of, like, the January 6th post-op that everybody's been talking about is, like, what was actually the deal. And some of it was, like, were they not prepared for this because they were trying to make sure there weren't, like, troops there for Trump to try and do a coup? You know, so like, to what extent were they trying to wrestle power from Trump to make sure that Trump couldn't do a coup? And in essence, like, they essentially usurped Trump's power and pulled off, I mean, essentially
Right.
a soft coup themselves, because this is like, so Alexander Vindman, who's obviously not a Trump guy, this is the whistleblower about the Ukraine call and everything, and testified against Trump and everything, tweeted this a couple hours ago. If this is true, General Milley must resign. He usurped civilian authority, broke the chain of command, and violated the sacrosanct principle of civilian control over the military. It's an extremely dangerous precedent. You can't simply walk away from that. So this is not a Trump anti-Trump thing. This is, you can't have the military decide in the middle of a presidency that's still active that the president's no longer in charge. They're really in charge. And it ended up being moot because Trump left on January 20th anyway. But that's bad. That actually is a coup. And it's a coup that, you know, stopped mattering on January 20th. But you know, if there had been some kind of military action or something, who knows what, like, that could have been an actual constitutional crisis. That is a coup. If the military
Milley,
decides they're actually in charge, that's a big problem.
Right, and it's coming back to me now. I think Milley had tooted his own horn about security in and around the Capitol.
Yeah.
And worried if it had been used. So, yeah, you're absolutely right.
So, and this is from the Bob Woodward book, this new stuff that's
But if
being
he was
leaked
out
to the Washington
freelancing
Post.
with foreign policy,
Talking to China.
Yes,
saying,
as
yeah, I'll call you.
as a military person over the elected leader of the country, then I don't see how he's not in effing jail. Or how he's not court-martialed and prosecuted.
Yeah, Michael Flynn didn't fill out the right forms to be a foreign
Yeah, you don't get to
person
play the president. You know, in order to say, it reminds me of at the radio station my friend a long time ago had this commemorative Red Sox framed thing sitting near his desk, and it was somebody was supposed to pick it up, and nobody picked it up for months and months. So my friend decided to take it home so nobody would steal it. So, and that reminds me of that. So Milley, to make sure that the president wouldn't steal the command of the United States, took control of it and just was the caretaker of it for a bit, just so nobody who didn't have such high moral aptitude would come along and take it.
Yep. Yeah, it's problematic. Like, oh, I just did a mini coup to make sure Trump wouldn't do a coup. That's fine. But, like, it really is. Like, every time they say the right is doing something, it's because that's exactly what they're doing. And it's bizarre, and it's really, like, concerning that even was able to happen. And, I mean, like, frankly, I don't think it reflects that well on Trump either, to be perfectly honest, that Trump was not paying enough attention that he allowed that to happen, you know? Because he was wrapped up in his own stuff. But, you know, it's really, like, it's a toxic, bad precedent. And it makes you think, you know, when the left is out here saying, like, we'll never know how close we came to, like, the end of our democracy. Like, yeah, I guess so. I didn't think that until today. But, like, apparently we were actually close to not having an officially elected government anymore. I mean, who the heck elected Mark Milley? I didn't elect Mark Milley to take over. I don't even think the people who voted for Biden elected Mark Milley.
Here's the problem, and if Biden were smart, then he would absolutely dismiss him immediately. But he is, at this point, so stuck in the dirt, you know, ingrained,
Or go do something else.
ingrained
He's upset a phone died. I thought he was, like, injured or something.
yeah, I don't know. It's worse when one of their phones. It's not even their phones. He's spoiled. It's fine. But
My phone died.
I don't expect. I think everything Biden now is there's nothing left of him. He's a husk and a cynic, and he'll look at that and say, "Oh, they think they're going to get one on me and try to put a dent in us." No, we're going to keep on. We're not going to let anything permeate this guard of messaging we have. We're taking absorbing no blow from conservatives. No, damn the torpedoes, damn the conservatives. No.
But I mean,
Once again, that would be Biden once again, because he sucks at this, making the country worse.
Right. But I think that this is something Biden really didn't need right now. This is once again going to take the spotlight off of the infrastructure bill that they were trying to steer everybody back to the stupid $3.5 trillion mess and try and make Joe Manchin the bad guy again and go back to this, because that was more of a political winner for them. Was, we really want to give you money, but the mean Republicans are stopping us. Like, that's, they feel a better win, and that's like more a traditional Democrat thing that they like to, that's the spot they like to be in politically. But they don't want to be in the we're failing to contain COVID and we're yelling at you to get vaccinated spot. They don't want to be in the we've completely screwed up the entire foreign policy and gotten 13 service members killed spot. They certainly don't want to be in the current chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff tried to pull off a coup, and now everybody's calling on him to resign spot, including big anti-Trump people like Vindman. Marco Rubio has put out a statement saying that Biden needs to immediately fire Milley. Like, this is going to be a big deal, and this, for the Biden administration right now, which, as we talked about last night, already has the wheels coming off and has been falling apart ever since the Afghanistan thing started to unravel. This is not what they needed right now, because this is yet another thing that Biden has to retreat on, you know, which, as you said, I think he's going to dig his heels in and say, I'm not getting rid of Milley, because, I mean, people have been yelling that Milley needs to go. Well, first of all, since the white rage thing, but certainly since the Afghanistan thing. Now, I mean, it's like, how can you not get rid of Milley? But Biden, just like the situation in Afghanistan where everybody said, is this really what we're doing? And he said, yes, this is absolutely what we're doing. This is what was supposed to happen all the time. This was great. Like, I mean, I think he's going to try and dig in and defend Milley on this somehow. I don't know how, but I'd like to be wrong. I'd like to think that I'm wrong and he'll back down and fire Milley, but I don't know if he can at this point.
And, you know, by the way, and you do that, what's going to happen to the mindset of those people who thought the election was stolen from Trump? Once again, they're going to say, look at this validation. And the military has been yelling about us. Mm-hmm. Us being the biggest threat in this country. Right. These people who try to tear the presidency away from Trump, who we think tried to tear the voting away from Trump. Mm-hmm. I mean, you are creating a permanent fissure in this country. And only one side's going to win.
Yeah, if you keep Milley there, then you're essentially declaring war on half the country, because you said that you were willing to seize power from the president that half elected and have a coup rather than have him be president.
Right. And
Trump is so bad, we have to, you know, make an exception on this whole democracy thing. We just have to have a coup and do this because Trump's just such an awful person. I mean, if you say that, then, you know, that does start a civil war. That's what that is.
Yes. No.
And saying we're keeping the guy who wanted to start a civil war with you and, you know, thinks you're full of white rage or whatever around, and that we think he's doing a great job, that, I mean, that's a total just stick it to half the population of the country. I don't see how you go back from that, Mr. Uniter-in-Chief.
No, it's absolutely unacceptable, and it's horrifically damaging.
Mm-hmm.
In when it's 1940, it wasn't 1945. It was a little bit after. Harry Truman fired Douglas MacArthur. He felt MacArthur had overstepped his authority, defied direct orders from his superior, and interfered with Truman's hope of ending the Korean War quickly. In other words, Truman was freelancing, essentially, when it came to Korea. So in 1951, Truman fired him. He relieved him of command, which was a huge thing because Douglas MacArthur was right up there with Patton as far as being huge stars of World War II. MacArthur in the South Pacific. And it was huge, and MacArthur came back here and still got heroes, ticker tape parades, etc., and a lot of people never forgave Truman for it. But it was the right thing because he overstepped civilian command. You can't have that. You just cannot have that. We don't vote for a military leader in this country. We vote for a civilian, and he controls the military. We decided upon that as being the best way to go quite a while ago.
Well, right, and the left used to obviously know that, and knowing as they have that the military has really been the last bastion of right-wingness in the government. You know, it's really like the rest of the government, all the like bureaucrats and executive branch people and legislative aides, they're at least sort of culturally liberal because they live in the big cities and they're like coastal, et cetera, et cetera. You know, the military is really the last spot that's like majority hardcore Republican base voters, which is why they've been trying so hard to usurp it, which is why they've had people like Milley reading friggin' books on white rage and, you know, putting out commercials about like getting more transgender people to be in the military and have pronouns and whatever. I mean, like, that's really why they're trying to infiltrate like the last spot in the government that's right wing. And like, clearly, if they thought they could pull off a coup with Trump, then they think they have succeeded. And, you know, like we hear from people too. People message us and say like, you know, that the morale in the military is terrible. That traditionally the people who've been in the military, you know, are really unhappy with top command. People are leaving left and right. They're doing this vaccine push, you know, on a group of people that's really not susceptible to COVID. You know, 20-year-old fit guys are not like the prime demographic that's getting hit by COVID. It's really not like a big threat to them. So the urgency in forcing the army to get the military to get vaccinated, I mean, like, you know, it's not that big a deal. Like the military gets vaccinated with friggin' everything all the time, and they have like, they don't have like constitutional rights to say no to stuff because they're the military. They don't, you know, really have a lot of bodily autonomy when they're enlisted. But like, you know, it's just the principle of the thing that like, that's their priority is like, we need to run out and vaccinate because they know who that's going to push out of the army. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally.
Like,
And
it's totally
Ben
a
Domenech
political
says
move.
this about Mark Milley. General Mark Milley, essence of boomer failure. Held onto power far past age of retirement. Uses late-stage wokeness to defend continued employment. Bitches like a mean girl. Believes rules apply to everyone but him. Never won anything. Disgrace from generation of disgraces.
Yeah.
I don't
mean,
know about the generation of disgraces, but there were, like, you know, plenty to account for. But, yeah. And that was so weird to see him speak woke-east like that. To see a guy in uniform, usually these stoic, hardened men, you know, speak like that.
Right.
So disappointing. What a... God, this... I'll tell you, man, I don't know. As far as upside is, this administration sucks so thoroughly that I wonder if it's trying to be the suckiest administration, just as a lesson to everybody to see, listen, if you let all of your institutions fail, let them get polluted and diluted, this is what happens.
I mean, like, seriously, I've said this before, but, like, do you think the country's going to make it to 2022? To the elections and the new Congress? Because it seems to be rupturing pretty quickly.
I think they are because, like, who's going to do, like, the left's, at this moment, the left's paramilitary force that go out and enforce the fascist doctrine that they want are Antifa, and they're absolute and total pussies. You know, so what are they going to take to the streets and push people around? I know 18 dudes who graduated from my high school class in Winchester High in 91, who would wipe the floor with 500 of these wuss bags. I mean, this is not, I mean, you're talking about, like, were we going to make it? You're talking apocalyptic, so I'm just, you know, having that conversation. But
if they've purged all the right-wing people from the military...
Well, yeah, but I don't... It matters. You can purge all the right-wing things from the military, but those people who have been purged are free men with weapons dispersed around the United States.
I mean, true.
You know, I do not think that... And it matters. Like, right, if you're a fringe woke crazy in the military... What are you going to do? Like, you know, fire on your former squad, you know, leader? Well,
but the command, like, the top commanders are all woke now, too. Like, it goes to the top. It seems to me
this administration has not endeared themselves to the military.
You wouldn't think so.
Especially with Afghanistan. Well, to the military brass, that's different. Like, you and I have talked about this. The brass, that's different. The people eyeing for good gigs in D.C., they'll say and do anything. It's like the union people. The union people here locally are, the grunt union people, hard-working pipe fitters, this and that, etc. The life lived by the union brass in Washington, D.C.
Right.
is a different life, totally. It is a really cushy, nice life.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think that has to do with everything with people in D.C. And just the Beltway people have a totally different existence, a different life, and they like it there. And they also think that they're the smartest people on the earth because they're close to all the power. And they're extremely vain. It's just all DC is Hollywood for politics.
Right. Yeah. It's like they're the most famous and successful people at politics.
Right. And now the two are combining.
Right.
Like if you look at AOC, et cetera. And it's on both sides with Matt Gaetz, et cetera. These people are there to be in front of cameras. They're there for moments. For that, whatever that is a problem too. That line we're gonna have to do a massive review. So yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know what else is going on in the world. Anything else other than that?
Well, AOC wasn't the only one at the Met Gala who had a little bit of activism going on. Obviously, Elliot Page was there, which was great.
I saw,
and everybody all said that he's incredibly attractive and looks so happy, even though.
Yeah, it didn't look.
No comment.
You saw the AOC. What she put out there, her statement.
Yeah.
You can read that.
Yes, I will read that. Hang on. But basically, Elliot Page, and then AOC apparently got criticized for attending the Met Gala. So she said, I thought about the criticism I'd get, but honestly, I and my body have been so heavily and relentlessly policed from all corners politically since the moment I won my election that
my body has been policed by all corners. Just to tell you, this is the shaping of somebody who has never had to be contrite for anything, who has never tried to expand her understanding and empathize with divergent voices,
just admit
whatever.
You've been policing her body.
Right. I have appreciated her body, I can tell you that. But this is somebody who only knows righteousness and victimhood, and that's it. Mm-hmm. That's it. And that is a person with a brain with 2 canals in it. That is not a smart person.
Well, and it's incredible because she's so beautiful and obviously like super politically talented. Mm-hmm. And, she has like all this stuff going for her. The world loves her and they want to dress her up in like pretty clothes. Like she won this, election, this Cinderella story election. She's the bartender. Like it's such a great story. Like you have everything going for you. Can't you be happy for like a minute? That's what I don't get. It's like complain. Like, like when she got to DC and she was like, oh, like people kept thinking I was the help. Like, you're the most famous person there. Nobody thought you were a staffer. Like, literally nobody. Everybody knows who you are in Washington, D.C. Like, you're the person that if you asked most people to name a congresswoman, that would be the first. They'd name her before Nancy Pelosi. I guarantee she has higher name recognition than Pelosi. But anyway, yeah, like, complain. Like, I thought about the criticism I get, but I and my body have been so heavily and relentlessly policed from all corners politically since the moment I won my election. It's kind of become expected and normalized to me. The irony is that when women in power take the prospect of criticism to be cautious in their actions, they are then criticized for being inauthentic and too calculated. Ultimately, the haters hated, and the people who are thoughtful were thoughtful, but we all had a conversation about taxing the rich in front of the very people who lobby against it. Did the Met Gala people, are they the people that are against taxing the rich?
That's what she did. She went and had a conversation about taxing the rich. Mostly she drank Prosecco and ate free food.
We punctured the fourth wall of excess and
that's
spectacle.
what happened. Can you imagine that? Just say you're sorry. Don't make it, that is so millennial, though. That is so millennial.
Or don't
to make
say
a big
sorry.
Bitchy festival about it. Oh, this happened, you said this, and you said that. I've had people her age work for me in years past, and whenever I called them out for being late or not doing something they were supposed to do, it's a screed of ways they're victimized and what they've gone through. It's like, just shut up and get here on time. You don't have to have the world explain to me why it couldn't happen. You did this and you did that. I remember one employee said, and I locked my keys in my car, and then my neighbor couldn't get them. It's like, why are you telling me any of this? I don't care what any of this has to do with anything or this whole backstory is fascinating. I just need you here at noon. Nothing other than noon matters to me. Nothing the Keys car blocks, you know, that you got mauled by a pit bull in the way. I don't. That's blah, 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 blah. What happens is I need you here at noon. That's it. You know, I can have also thousands of reasons why I don't have to be here at noon as well. But some of us have to be here at noon to do the noon thing, or else it doesn't effing happen. Then we can't generate revenue to pay your ungrateful, sucky little millennial ass.
But I mean, also, she doesn't have to apologize for going to the Met Gala. She's a politician. She's a celebrity. She can get invited to the Met Gala and just go.
And wouldn't that be great if she just said that? Yeah, that's right. No, I got an invitation. It was a really big...
I'm friggin' famous and important, and I went to the famous important people thing. Big deal.
Yeah.
Like, what? She
right, it doesn't have to be a self-righteous thing. I did it, and it was a covert condemnation of the Met Gala. That's what we did. Ha-ha, sucks to be them.
Honestly, our culture is deeply disdainful and unsupportive of women, especially women of color and working class women and LGBTQ immigrant, etc., from the bottom up. Whether it's lack of childcare support or especially reserving pillory for elected women and femme people. The more intersections one has, the deeper the disdain. I am so used to doing the same exact thing that men do, including popular male progressive elected officials, and getting a completely different response. So all I can do is acknowledge that reality and make decisions as I am and as I grow thoughtfully through my life.
It's fascinating. I did the same exact thing as men do. No, I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't love Dick Durbin, but I haven't seen him flamboyantly sashaying into the Met Gala. Now, I'm sure he has. I'm sure he goes to events like that as well. Mm-hmm. But making a statement with his little thing around him saying taxes are rich and making it all about him and being a spectacle.
But like I say, she's not the only one. Megan Rapinoe, whatever her name is.
Alice, please be careful with that.
I don't know.
Really?
I've literally never heard her name said out loud. I don't even know. She came in her red, white, and blue outfit with her little clutch that says, "In gay we trust."
Ooh, my goodness. Imagine that showing how cool and edgy wokey you are in front of the edgiest, wokiest capital in the world.
Yeah, I'm sure that the Met Gala crowd is really not accepting of gay people.
She'll be the first one in the door, as a matter of fact.
As a matter of fact, what's his face? The Lil Nas X had three different outfits on, all shiny gold, and was posing and whatever. So I mean, like, sorry, it's the Met Gala likes gays now. It's done. You don't have to take a stand on gay rights at the Met Gala.
I would say that has been tolerated for quite some time, probably since the inception of their showcasing of art. They show art, right? Is that what they do?
I guess. I don't even know what they do inside. Nobody can take pictures inside, so it's like secret. I don't
know. Katie Herzog?
No.
Did you see? She made a funny joke. Way out of her expertise. And it was like me landing a 3-point shot from the other side of the court without having any idea. I'm going to read it to you. Guys will get this. Katie Herzog is a very progressive, lesbian author, also a millennial, who was part of a great podcast called the Blocked and Reported podcast. Mm-hmm. And this is her... Actually, she had 2 excellent tweets on this. Here's the runner-up. Shocked and appalled that anyone would wear white after Labor Day, much less a representative of the people. Okay. Not bad. It's a go-to, the way it's
white
layout.
After Labor Day, right?
Here's the great one. 6 hours ago, Katie Herzog. This is a person who I'm assuming she lives in Seattle or whatever, Portland, whatever, is in a totally different lifestyle. She's married to a woman, etc. Why does a baseball team have a gala anyway? What a great joke that is. I like that. Great joke. Mm-hmm. And it made me very happy to hear it, Alice. Mm-hmm. You know what? Maybe that's part of what Norm Macdonald did for all of us. He gave us a little bit of his comedic dust as he ascended to the heavens. That's what I like to think.
That's a happy thought, honey.
Yes, it is.
Dad, can you let me do this?
What would you like to do?
But yeah, it's also taking a bold stand at the Met Gala was Cara Delevingne, who's a model, who's obviously made money from being a skinny, attractive young woman. And she wore a top that said "Peg the patriarchy." Again,
What does peg mean?
I mean, I think it wow.
Is that like slay
what?
them or?
No, that's okay. I can't say that on the air.
Oh.
I think.
Oh, I see. Does it mean like
think.
fornicate with?
I think so.
In a way that would be
humiliating to a man, generally.
That they would be generally against.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I didn't know that. I think I had to come up
peg
with
the
another.
patriarchy. And then I don't even know who this older woman is, but she was for equal rights for women, which I think is also very edgy.
Do you know the more formal way to tell somebody to peg the patriarchy?
No, how?
Margaret the patriarchy.
I like it.
I like to think that Norm Macdonald has shed a little bit of his comedic dust to all of us on his way to the heavens.
Well, keep working on it, I think.
Thank you. I came up with that.
I'm not sure your dust has landed on you yet. Thank you so much, everybody. And you can find us on Twitter at Burn Barrel Pod and at Tom Shattuck. In case that dust thing works out, you can find him there. I'm at Alice Shattuck. We're also at burnbarrelpodcast.com and facebook.com/burnbarrelpodcast. You can email us burnbarrelpodcast@gmail.com. And, all places like that. We're on YouTube. We're on Gab, Parler, Rumble, all the places where there's stuff.
C'est la vie.